welcome to the somewhat unbelievably the December 2020 board meeting of the SACOG board. We are, of course, hosting a remote meeting today, and we'll be able to, there's a variety of ways to make public comment, but we're gonna get us kicked off. We could actually get, let's see, Director Conant, would you be willing to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? And we're gonna get the flag shared here. There we go.
Good.
Great.
Everyone, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
Probably especially when it's loud, you know.
You want me to bring my AirPods?
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. We will now move along to
I'll get back to my phone. You showed me once.
Tom. You're not on mute. So Tom Stallard, Director Stallard.
Sorry, I'm having technical problems.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to do a roll call now.
Great, thank you. Good morning. As Chair Farrick said, there's many ways to participate in this meeting. As a reminder, the meeting is being recorded, and for members of the public who are participating by telephone, you can press *9 if you'd like to make a comment. To our board members and alternates that are attending, we appreciate you being here. If you would like to make a comment, you can raise your hand, and then also we would just ask that if you're not speaking, if you could mute your device. Director Bernasconi?
Here.
Thank you. Branscombe? Absent?
Here.
Oh, thank you so much. Bruins? Absent. Burris?
Present.
Clark Kretz? I'll let the record show that she is on the line.
Yeah, I believe she's here. Yes.
Yes, thank you. Conant for Flores?
Yes, present.
Frost?
Here.
Gallardo?
Here.
Gog?
Yes.
Gore?
Here.
Harris?
Here. Good morning.
Jankovitz? I'll come back to him. Jennings?
Jennings is here.
Joyner?
Here.
Kennedy?
Here.
Kozlowski? I'll let the record show that he is on the line. Leahy?
Here.
Ledesma?
Here.
Lozano?
Here.
New?
Here.
Carlin? Absent Peters? Absent Sander? I'll come back to you. Saragosa? Absent. Saylor?
Present.
Chenier?
Here.
Spokley?
Here.
Stallard? I have the record show Director Stallard is here. Soon?
Here.
West?
Here.
Chair Frericks?
Here.
And going back, Director Jankovitz? Mark him absent, and Director Sander? Absent. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much for that. Actually, before we move on to public communications, just want to say good morning to certainly all our many familiar faces out there, but also a number of folks who are joining us either as alternates or maybe perhaps as the new regular voting member from their respective jurisdictions. We're really glad to have folks joining us this morning. Thank you for making this a priority in your schedule. And we will move now along to public communications. This is a time for anyone who wishes to address the board on an item that does not appear elsewhere on the agenda. Lynette, have we received any public comments via email, or is there a member of the public who wishes to comment?
No public comment.
Okay, appreciate that. We're going to now actually move to adjourn to a closed session We're gonna just ask for folks members of the public and staff to be a little bit patient as we host this closed session. So just for board members, you're participating from a secure system, so just stay right here on the line. Technical staff now, everyone. Just gonna, I don't believe there's officially any reportable action from the closed session, but just ask our counsel, Kirk Trost, to make a comment or two.
Yes, there's no reportable action.
Great, appreciate that. Thank you very much. Now we're going to move along to the consent calendar. These items are all approved to be intended in one motion. However, of course, anyone can remove an item for separate discussion. Is there any director that wishes to remove an item? Not seeing any. There's a variety of things on the consent calendar that we're taking an action on, but we'll actually have a little bit of an informational presentation later in the meeting. Lynette, Director Frost. Yeah, I see your hand raised. Go right ahead.
I just had a question on item 8. I'd like to pull item 8 for a question.
Okay, great. Absolutely. And happy to do that. And so do we want, Lynette, first of all, is there any member of the public, Lynette, who wishes to remove an item from the consent calendar or for public comment purposes?
No, Chair Ferrix.
Okay, thank you.
We'll move the rest of the consent calendar.
Thank you. We have a motion by Chenier. Do you have a second?
Second.
I see that Mike saw Director Soon first. So we have motion by Chenier, second by Soon. Director Frost, just a quick clarification. Did you actually want that item pulled and not approved now? You want to have it heard separately, or do you just have a question and do you think it could be left on the consent calendar?
I think I just have a quick question.
Okay.
I wasn't on that committee, and in the board report, it mentioned that the MOU is going to appoint 4 board members who will represent our COG at the mega region level, and it listed, all the different items that they would be covering, common items. But the question I had was regarding partnerships with business organizations and joint policy positions on matters of statewide importance. So my question is, does that committee, do those 4 representatives who are representing our board at the mega region making policy, taking policy positions on behalf of our board, or is the intent that they will come back and it will be addressed at our board so that we can be in the conversation? Will they be representing us without us in the conversation?
Yeah, so I will just start with a brief answer and we can have staff add in as needed. We will be having an informational item on this and a little bit later, but your question is a very good one. Currently, there have been 4 members of the board this year that participated, myself, Director Allard from Roseville, Director Saylor from Yolo County, and Director Soon from Elk Grove. We have just participated in sort of these meetings thus far this year, working group, working on the MOU that you have before us today. And we have, and there's been discussion around developing potential legislative or policy ideas that would work in transportation related primarily, that would work for the whole mega region. But the intent continues to be and has been that we come back to each respective board, SACOG, the San Joaquin Council of Governments, and MTC in the Bay Area. Each set of members from the mega region working group go back to their respective boards to get input and feedback, and also affirmation of any of the proposed items that the working group comes up with. So, and that's what has been happening. I can certainly allow, I think Kirk might want to speak to it. I thought looks like he raised his hand, but also James as well too.
Yeah, Chair Frericks, that principle is reflected in section 2E Romanet 2 of the agreement, which says that decisions by that board are not binding on the board of directors of SACOG. So any action would be required to come back to the board if it involved a policy decision or some kind of financial commitment.
Great, That answers my question very well. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much for the question. Appreciate it. So Director Chenier, how about are you willing to just move the consent calendar as the whole?
Nothing would make me happier.
Excellent. We got a motion by Chenier, second, I believe, still by Soon, moving the entire consent calendar items 2 through 12. If there are any other additional questions, comments, or discussion on the consent calendar? Not seeing any hands, hearing and seeing none. We'll move now to a motion on the consent calendar. A roll call vote, rather. Yes.
Thank you. Director Bernasconi,
Yes.
Branscombe,
Yes.
Bruins
Yes.
absent. Thank you. Bruins absent. Burris,
Yes.
Clark Kretz,
She is indicating her yes vote again. But we're not
yes.
able to hear her audio currently.
Thank you. I'll note a yes for the record. Conant for Flores,
Aye.
Frost,
Aye.
Gallardo,
Yes.
Gog,
Yes.
Gore,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Jenkovich absent. Jennings,
Yes.
thank you. Joyner,
Yes.
sorry, Director Joyner, could you indicate your vote once more?
Yes.
Thank you. Kennedy,
Aye.
Kozlowski,
He is on mute still. Director Kozlowski, are you supportive of the consent calendar? Okay, I would move on.
okay, I'll come back to him. Thank you. Leahy,
Yes.
thank you. Ledesma,
Aye.
Lozano,
Aye.
New,
Yes.
Harlan absent. Peters absent. Sander,
Aye.
Saragosa absent. Saylor,
Sorry. Aye.
Chenier,
Aye.
Spokley,
Yes.
Stallard,
Aye.
Soon,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Chair Frericks,
Yes.
and coming back to Director Kozlowski, could you indicate your vote, please?
I apologize. Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate that and the discussion as well. Moving along now, we're going to item 13, which is a public hearing. It's the 2021 to 2024 MTP Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program Amendment 1 to the 2020 MTP SCS. And we are going to have a brief presentation by Dustin Foster, and then we're going to open the public hearing. Go right ahead, Dustin.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, directors. My name is Dustin Foster, and I am managing the adoption of the 21 to 24 Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program. This morning, staff requests the board hold a public hearing to receive comments on the draft 21-24 Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program, draft amendment number 1 to the 2020 Metropolitan Transportation Plan Sustainable Community Strategies, and accompanying air quality conformity analysis. Let me briefly explain all those documents. First, the 21-24 Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program, short-term listing of transportation projects that receive federal funds or are regionally significant. The 2020 Metropolitan Transportation Plan Sustainable Community Strategy is our long-range plan that connects land use, transportation, and air quality. And although this is amendment number 1, it's not a wholesale amendment to the MTP, but just makes changes to the project list. Finally, the air quality conformity analysis demonstrates that we're still on track to attain our air quality goals. This morning, again, there's no action requested other than to hold the hearing. We'll come back in February once public comment is over for the final board adoption. Thank you for your attention.
Great. Thank you very much, Dustin. Appreciate the presentation. I just, at this point, would ask, first of all, if there are any questions of clarification by any directors or comments at all. I'm looking again for either actual visible motion or raised hands using the raised hands feature. Not seeing any or hearing any at the moment. So we will open the public hearing. Is there any public members of the public who wish to comment on this item? Or any additional questions or comments from directors or at all, or comments? Lynette, any public comment?
No, no public comment.
Okay, great. Well, we will close the public hearing. So do we have a motion to approve, or is there a need for a motion on this one? The annotated agenda just says there's no other action needed at this time. So I assume there would be a need for a motion though.
Make a motion to approve.
Yeah, Leahy, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Director Buress, any additional questions, comments, or discussion on this item? Any final comments by staff?
So Lucas, forgive me, my understanding was that we did not need to take action on this today, just hold the public hearing. It would come back for a vote at a later date.
Thank you. I think that's correct, but I just wanting to make sure that that is the case. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I withdraw.
Thanks very much. Appreciate that. So no other action needed at this time. We've had the public hearing. We'll move along then. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dustin, for the presentation. To item 14, the election of the 2021 SACOG Chair and Vice Chair. Director Stallard, who is the chair of the nominating committee, is going to present the item. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and colleagues, and especially a warm welcome to our new colleagues. I look forward to getting to know all of you and working with you as we go forward. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Chair Frericks, for the privilege of being the chair of the nominating committee this year. I also want to thank the committee that included Jill Gallardo, David Sander, Don Saylor, Tim Onderco, and Brian Veerkamp. Thank them. I thank them for their time. All right. Also, I want to thank all of those who self-nominated. That's our process here. And I would like to affirm the fact that the committee felt that every one of them would make a great chair for SACOG. Unfortunately, we can't have everybody be vice chair and chair. But this year we did have to name a new chair as well as vice chair. And we considered a number of criteria, including rotation around the region, geographically rotation between supervisors and council members, diversity, and those kinds of factors. Concluding that process, we were very pleased to unanimously recommend that Supervisor Bonnie Gore of Placerville be forwarded to the board as our nomination for chair, and that Council Member Rick Jennings of the City of Sacramento be our nomination for vice chair, also a unanimous recommendation. With that, I would make a motion. I'd offer the motion that Supervisor Bonnie Gore and Council Member Rick Jennings be designated, I should say director in both cases because we are at SACOG. So Director Gore be chair and Director Jennings be vice chair. That is my motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so thank you very much. I appreciate the report and the presentation. Just one quick clarification. I think Supervisor Gore represents Placer County. Director Saragosa might be a little saddened by his not being able to represent Placerville anymore. So, but yes, thank you, Director Stallard. Appreciate the report. And we've had a motion and numerous seconds. Are there other, let me just pull up the raised hands section and such, additional questions, comments from any directors, and if either nominee is for chair or vice chair want to speak as well, that's appropriate to do it either now or afterwards. But any other questions or comments from folks? So I've got a motion by Stallard, and I saw a variety of folks second, but Director Conant, I will specifically saw explicitly first or heard first. So Lynette, looks like there are no additional questions or comments. We'll move to the roll call, please.
Thank you. Director Bernasconi?
Yes.
Branscombe,
Yes.
Bruins absent. Thank you. Bruins absent. Burris,
Yes.
Clark Kretz, I see her thumbs up. Thank you. I will record yes for the record. Conant for Flores,
Aye.
Frost,
Aye.
Gallardo,
Yes, with pleasure.
Gog,
Yes.
Gore,
Aye.
Harris,
Yes.
Jankovitz absent. Jennings,
Yes.
Joyner,
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Kozlowski,
Enthusiastically, yes.
Leahy,
Absolutely less. Yes.
Ledesma,
Absolutely yes.
Lozano,
Aye.
New,
Yes.
Harlan absent. Peters absent. Sander,
Aye.
Zaragoza absent. Sailor,
Aye.
Chenier,
Absolutely.
Spokely,
Absolutely.
Stallard,
Absolutely. Yes.
Soon,
Absolutely yes.
West,
Yes.
and Chair Frericks.
Aye, and here.
Thank you.
Chair
Motion
Farrick.
carries.
Thank you very much for that, Lynette. First of all, congratulations to the new chair and vice chair for the 2021 year. Director Stallard.
I neglected to thank Lynette Espinosa, our clerk. She was of amazing support to our committee, and I just wanted her to know how much we appreciate her for all she did for us. Thank you.
Absolutely. She is deserving of many thanks. Congratulations again to both of you. I'm very excited about that. And I don't know if there are other directors, anyone with comments or questions now. Otherwise, we can, there'll be probably plenty of time to try to celebrate them. Normally, we would probably have some sort of a little bit of a reception at some point, but 2020 being as it is, so that will have to wait until the new year.
Lucas, may I just make just a brief comment?
Of course.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to the nominating committee as well as to all of you for really this opportunity. This is a terrific organization, a terrific board, and I'm pleased to get to know the new, I think, 11 new members that will serve with us this next year. I am really excited to have the opportunity to serve along with Rick Jennings. He's probably one of my most favorite people. Whenever we sit together on trips, whether it's a SACOG or a SACOG trip or something like that, I just always enjoy my interactions with him. And so I just look forward to the opportunity. I thank you. I think we have some real opportunity this next year to build working relationships together with our new members, continue to work collaboratively as an organization. So it's a huge honor, and I really appreciate the opportunity to serve. Rick, did you want to say anything?
Thank you very much. Director Jennings.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I too want to thank the nominating committee and each one of you for your vote of confidence in both of us to lead this organization, to be a part of all the great things that are going on. And I just can't thank you enough. I love Bonnie Gore as a fellow leader in the region, as a sister, as a friend, and I just am so excited to serve in this capacity with her, but I'm also excited to serve in the capacity with each one of you, moving this region forward. And so I thank you for your vote of confidence. I'm elated to take on this challenge, and we will not fail you, I promise you.
Congratulations again. Well deserved, and we all look forward to the work ahead for sure. So thank you everyone for that. Let's see. Okay, moving along. So let's see, we've come to the information portion of our agenda. So Item 15, per the discussion we had in the sort of brief discussion on the consent calendar, is this item is the Mega Region Working Group update, and Clint is going to present that. Clint Holtzen is going to present this item for information, and we're almost to our recognizing of outgoing directors as well. So that's coming up.
Morning. So I can be fairly brief here because I know we've got quite a few info items we want to get through in the next 20 or so minutes. So the Mega Region Working Group, we were on a bit of a hiatus from the last time that group met, but we were able to reconvene and bring that back together this past year. Over the course of the year, we were able to gain some momentum around working much more closely with our peer agencies in the Bay Area, MTC, and then in San Joaquin. Together, we're representing 11 million people in the state, 126 cities. So this is a massive group that is representing. Each of the MPOs has 4 members. And as was discussed earlier, those members will come together. They'll make recommendations. Those will all need to come back to the governing bodies as we're developing recommendations out of that group. But so far, just in 2020, we've formed a number of staff groups to work together on some of our key priority areas, on housing, on telework and broadband, on issues of legislative priority for each of the agencies, and then on our long-range transportation plans. So that work will continue in earnest in 2021. SACOG was the lead agency in 2020. San Joaquin will take the reins in 2021. We'll continue to make sure, whether they're recommendations or updates, we're coming back to this board to let you know about the progress that group is having. I think in 2021, again, housing, telework, broadband, and then making sure our long-range transportation plans and our transportation infrastructure priorities, that we are working together, because we do have a very, very connected mega regional economy. So interacting with those groups and coordinating with those other MPOs is critically important. And then we also have some really great momentum and partnerships with the business community, who also now have formed a mega region group and are willing to work very closely with us. So that's kind of the highlights for what's coming ahead in 2021. And then if James or Director Frericks or any of the other directors that are on that group had anything to offer, I can turn it over to you.
Great, thank you very much, Clint. Appreciate that. Are there other directors at all with questions or comments for Clint on this item? I will obviously offer a quick opportunity for James to make some comments too, but I just want to really briefly say a few quick things. One, just really want to appreciate the good work by our SACOG staff in leading this effort this year. So Clint specifically, Christina and the policy ledge side of things, Casey Lazan, certainly James, ultimately, obviously as the executive director, really helping to drive this. This was a personal priority for me, is sort of at the beginning of it, coming into the chair of the board in 2020. This efforts was begun about 5 or 6 years ago. And then there was frankly, a period of time when it languished and there was not a lot of effort placed towards it. I think that we all have our own very distinct individual identities, no question, but there are a lot of areas in which we do work already closely together, and especially in the transportation world, various agencies, and the Capital Corridor and ACE Train and others that are already go between to and from, and then of course. I would say very quickly, the business community is very supportive of these efforts. I think it's important that our private sector partners, they recognize the issues around housing, the commuting, obviously the huge impact, and then the trade issues as well that exist between the 3 regions. So really appreciate the efforts again this year, and just thank very much the work by staff. It's just excellent, and it's really moved us forward in these efforts. And there's a lot more to come, I think, in the years ahead. I have Director Joyner and Director Suen with hands raised, and also want to give James an opportunity after that.
Thank you, Lucas. Just a quick thought with Director Allard leaving the board. I just want to emphasize what I think is the importance of having a Placer County representative among the 4 representatives there. So I'd be more than happy to nominate our incoming chair. I think she'd do a hell of a job, but I also don't know what her schedule is looking like. But I do want to emphasize what I think is the importance of having a representative from Placer County among the four.
Great. No, thank you. Appreciate that. And advocacy, and also, Director Allard was made similar comments previously as well, just in terms of the feeling like the need for continuing representation from Placer in these discussions. But thank you very much for those comments. Director Soon.
Thank you, Chair Ferricks. I just want to thank you again for the opportunity to serve on that, and also thank you for your recognition of the importance of this matter. Obviously not by design, but it's apparent from I think everyone's seen the housing values and the market that's happened here is mainly been Bay Area folks coming this way. But it's something that you recognize, and this topic recognize the linkage and how we can benefit and how it will affect our region. There'll be some challenges with that as well in terms of housing affordability and such. So as we move forward into what we're calling the new normal, even after the vaccine, this topic will continue to be relevant. And so again, just want to thank you for your recognition of the importance of it.
Thank you very much, Director Soon. Appreciate your work on it as well this year. James, you want to make some comments?
Sure, just briefly. Thank you, Chair Ferricks. In part here for some of our new members, of the many things the pandemic has done, and I'm sure you're all aware of this, is it is really beginning to actually what I would call elongate our economy across the 80 corridor, the 50 corridor, frankly, all the way into Nevada, as we see movers from the Bay Area begin to settle here. We see folks here who already live in the Sacramento region getting jobs in telecommuting through telework and work from home. So I think it's obvious to everybody, our mega region is growing even stronger as a mega region. And frankly, I would again say to many of you, if we can get this right, it is actually an economic competitive strategy to both attract talent here, but to retain companies and jobs and employers in this region. Why not live here, locate here, have some of your offices in the Bay Area or Nevada? And so those transportation ties become critical. We hope in the next few years, not only do we have the Capitol Corridor, but we're going to get the ACE train coming up from Stockton into Sacramento, through Elk Grove, maybe eventually all the way to Marysville and Yuba City. Whoa. We've got to focus on those things. They sometimes fall between the cracks. And I just want to say, thank you, Chair Ferricks. This really was your leadership that got the MOU, that got the work restarted. And I think it is absolutely essential to our economic prosperity and our success. So thank you again.
Thanks very much. Appreciate that. Your comments. Any other additional questions or comments on this item? Not seeing any. Great. Thank you very much, Clint. Appreciate that. So actually, we are trying to get to the recognition of outgoing directors at around 10:45, right around 10:45, which means we have about 10 minutes left. I know it's a short item, but I'm going to actually, if it's okay with folks, I'd like to take the activities around the next item 16, activities supporting Green Means Go. I would love to actually see if folks don't have an objection to it's just an informational item, put it on the next agenda, if that's okay. I think it's important for us to have at least a brief discussion, certainly on this, the board, item 17, the board working group on race, equity, and inclusion report out. I do not want to shortchange that. So any objections at all on not hearing item 16 right now? Not seeing any, not hearing any. Okay. So apologies to Jennifer Hargrove, but we'll definitely have time on the next board agenda for that item. So item 17 is a SACOG board working group on race, equity, and inclusion report out. Monica Hernandez is going to give us a report, certainly, but also just want to, before doing that, just want to make a couple quick comments. I know that the firsthand that these, we've had a variety of discussions about this over the course of the past 6 months, but certainly recognize that the acknowledging that racial disparities and having these conversations can be difficult or is hard, but I think it, requires humility and requires introspection. But I think we also need to really be, as leaders, stepping into this issue and taking it on. And I think it's it's time, it's our duty, and I think we must sort of work on these things together. I think to frame the discussion, I want to just remind folks of the purpose of the working group. It has been a place to discuss and make recommendations to the SACOG board, relating to race, equity, and inclusion. We are, certainly, I think, committed to dig into this work and we've seen a variety of in the formation of a framework of how to sort of proceed. We've seen that the organization, I think we're on a positive trajectory towards reducing racial disparities and improving racial equity. And I think that, certainly don't think that it means that it's going to be fixed within a few months or potentially even in a few years, but I do think that it means that we are taking on an item where we will be in perpetual motion, sort of learning and acting differently and measuring and iterating. And I think that the draft framework that we'll hear about in a moment from that many of the board members have already heard about and have participated in the discussions, but the draft framework takes many things into consideration, and I think it recognizes that we're at a starting point, and that jumping into actionable steps without deeper listening and learning is not going to yield sort of results that we desire. So certainly would like I think open it up to the board and also have Monica give us a brief overview, but I think have some questions that I think will help inform the staff work and hoping to hear other suggestions from board members regarding potential steps ahead. Does the framework align with your city and county efforts to advance issues around racial equity? Does the framework give you a sense of work in the process ahead? Are there specific issues that any of you, just directors, related to these issues that you'd like to see us dive deeper into? And then things that you obviously might see as might be things that are missing from the potential framework as well. So with that, I just sort of that's how I kick it off and have Monica do a brief presentation, and then we'll have time for a board discussion.
Thank you, Chair. And I'm gonna share my screen here momentarily. All right, good morning. I do recognize that we are running short on time, so I am gonna kind of skip through a couple of the slides so that we can jump right into your discussion. We know that this summer, our country reached a new level in the civil rights movement for Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and our board heard that call. In June, our board leadership announced its commitment to inequities, to tackling discrimination and bias in our work and our programs, and formed the Race, Equity, and Inclusion Working Group. Part of that committee charge was to serve as a place for directors to discuss these challenging issues, including but not limited to activities of the working group, advancement of building race, equity, inclusion into our strategic goals and into our projects. The working group met monthly since July and dove deep into a variety of topics. Foremost, what was clear was that there was a shared commitment to being intentional, humble, data-driven, and it was clear that there was interest in better understanding the many threads of racial disparities and intersectionality, meaning the social factors in addition to race that put people at different starting points or at different places for access to opportunity. In parallel to the working group meetings, we contracted with the McKinsey Mack Group to conduct a racial equity audit. And the goal of the audit was to help build awareness of some of the places where we are starting in this work and where we could go. Based on the board discussion portions of the audit, and a national scan of best practices, staff developed a draft framework that we developed a draft framework to really respond to what we were hearing. And before I walk through the framework, I just wanted to touch on the framework themes. And as I walk through them, reiterate that these are not necessarily time constraints, but should be seen as cyclical. So year one is a focus on listening and elevating the experiences of Black, Indigenous people of color and other marginalized communities into planning processes and programs. And of course, coalition building as well. So we have more voices at the table. Years 2 through 3, learning, engage in multi-level educational opportunities to develop common understandings relative to racial equity and intersectionality, and ultimately developing a racial equity plan. I will acknowledge that, we did hear the board asking us to move quickly, but this work does require deep learning, and while urgency is there, we still want to bring the best practices and be thoughtful. So years 3 and 4, focus on measurement, working with national best practices, local stakeholders, develop qualitative and quantitative goals and metrics that can inform an overall racial equity plan, and of course can be measured over time. And then years 4 and 5, I'm not going to necessarily put forward, what those activities would be because it's an iterative process. So here we have the list of activities that will cover, they're just an illustrative list. There's a longer list in your attachment. And we want these all to be rooted in best practices, establishing a starting base from which to start and build a successful and inclusive program. And recognizing that, disparities didn't happen overnight and not a single entity or individual is responsible for these, but the recovery must be seen the same way, that it won't happen overnight and it won't happen as one single entity. So with that, Mr. Chair, I am happy to turn it over for your discussion, and I have a copy of the questions that I could put on the screen as well if that is helpful.
Yeah, I think that would be very helpful. Thank you, Monica. Appreciate that. So directors, those with questions or comments, please go right ahead. I'm both looking at hands raised in the by board members or also motions being made by their hands. I'm not seeing anyone yet. So. Okay. Director Saylor, thank you for kicking things off.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to especially thank you and Vice Chair Samoya for initiating this effort and for the thoughtful approach that's been followed so far. I think that the focus on the framework is appropriate. There were a number of recommendations that came out of the review, but I think that this framework captures the essence of where we need to go as a board. We play a key role in the region, and I think that I think many of us would like to move more quickly, but I think Monica's comment that to go fast, you want to go slow here a little bit, and I think this is an appropriate framework. It was a pleasure to hear the conversations in the working group. I think there was a lot of very sincere sharing that happened in the course of those conversations, and I believe that this is aligned with Yolo County's interests. In answer to this first question, it is consistent with what we are doing locally, and I think it's a way for us to get into ongoing improvements in how we serve the entire region. I appreciate that the packet that we have here today includes the Brookings report, and which does make reference to the importance of inclusion and opportunity for everybody in the region as a way to move us forward in economic prosperity. So thank you, Lucas, for your service here, and thanks also to Ricky and to Monica and James for doing the hard work and getting this brought to us.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Director Saylor. Appreciate that. Director Soon with a hand raised.
Yes, thank you, Chair Frericks. I also want to thank you and Vice Chair Samaoa and James and Monica for your efforts in bringing this all together. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I just want to provide some input, if I may. Throughout my professional career as a project manager and even my work in emergency operations, and there's a specific term that we have, which is a common operating picture. And I think it's important, or otherwise known as being on the same page. And I think it's important that, State COG, we're a diverse region. There's folks new to the group, and even the folks that have been part of the committee, I took stock of. I don't think we're all completely on the same page. I know in terms of outcomes, in terms of the conversation. And so I do appreciate Director Saylor's wanting to, move with purpose. And I'm fine with that too. I think our city is in alignment with this framework, but I think we need to take some time and just have another conversation just to tease out some things that we heard or maybe were inferred in our committee meetings. And I think that would go a long way in kind of the 2 steps or 1 step back and you can go 2 steps forward type of thing. So I just want to provide those thoughts. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Director Soon. Yes, I agree very much with those comments. I think based on as well on the framework, the presentation in Monica, but also staff report and that we have in our packet, I think it's important to know that the plan is to spend time, a decent amount of time in sort of next steps regarding, listening and learning before any kind of sort of jumping to explicit action. So I think that is important to note. So thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. Other directors with questions or comments at all right now? Otherwise, it's just for an update right now. I would not seeing any hands raised or anything at the moment. So I will see if James wants to offer brief comments as well, and then we can move along to the next item.
Well, thank you, Chair Frericks. And I know we didn't really have a lot of time to dive deep into that. I would frankly say that, again, for many of our new members, I think we see this issue around racial equity, inclusion, and trying to tackle disparities intentionally in many ways the same way we see the mega region. And I know that sounds like maybe an odd comparison, but it really is about trying to make sure that our region is successful. We narrow the gap where we can. We're very, as Monica said, feel very aware of what we can do and what is beyond our control, or even our staying in our lane, so to speak. However, as you'll hear about, I think next year, in transportation, housing in particular, there are a lot of disparities, especially in housing, which we are required to actually tackle disparities. And we intend to have a much deeper conversation with the board about that next year. And there is, in many ways, next year is a year of housing. And a year of housing policy, housing elements, implementing a lot of the work that we've been doing. So stay tuned for that. Thank you again, Chair Frericks, and I'll turn it back to you.
Thanks, appreciate it very much, James. Thanks for your comments. I would just say, I think as we move forward into 2021, certainly hopeful that the incoming chair and vice chair will choose to sort of continue on with this work, and hopefully that we'll still have a robust participation by board members in the sort of months and years ahead. And thank you very much for your work, Monica, specifically, and other staff on this effort. I'm not seeing any other additional hands there. So let's see. So we're going to move along then now to item 18, which is the 2020 annual highlights. We are behind schedule, obviously, a bit. So I'm just going to recognize the good work that is done on an annual basis in this on this effort. The items in your staff report, we're going to sort of bypass the official presentation by Monica, but there's even in a COVID year, which was marked by a lot of sort of upheaval in sort of the normal way of doing things. This organization managed to do quite a bit, and the reality is, more than anything, sure, we're a board that's committed to getting things done, but none of it takes place without the excellent staff work. And I would just offer that that we are having a pretty, especially as we've been participating in this mega region work as well. You get exposed to staff from other agencies, of course, and some of the other MPOs. And I'll just say that we are exceptionally fortunate with the excellent staff that SACOG has. So I would encourage you all to take a look at the annual sort of highlights, but we'll otherwise, if there are no other comments on this item, we'll move ahead to the recognizing of our next item, which is the recognizing of outgoing directors. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. So we're going to now move ahead to this anticipated item of recognizing. We have many outgoing board members to recognize today. I appreciate all of the contributions and service to this board over the years. Lynette is a very important thing to denote. Lynette is going to be sending you each a plaque next month, a real in-person plaque. So it's not just a virtual recognition. But we're going to kick presentations off this morning with Director Gallardo presenting to Alex Tixa. And so then after that, we're going to go in alphabetical order. Director Tixa has a pre-existing obligation he has to get to. So we'll go in alphabetical order, and I'll just announce each departing member. And then we have various directors scheduled to sort of make remarks about the departing directors. Go right ahead. Go right ahead, Director Gallardo.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure to lead this off. And it's my honor to recognize our outgoing board member, Alexander Tixa. What a joy to meet him. Alexander joined SACOG in 2019, and in his tenure, he quickly jumped into leadership roles, serving with me as vice chairs of the Land Use and Natural Resource Committee this year. Alex was quick to take advantage of SACOG programs like the Cap to Cap and San Diego tours, and he requested staff support to look into planning and grant applications that would improve safety for students in Live Oak right off the bat. Alexander recognizes the importance of opening doors for the next generation of leaders, and as such, he volunteered his time for the SACOG Youth Leadership Academy. And not only did he become a keynote speaker for the inaugural graduation, he also took the time to meet with the Live Oak Youth Leadership Academy members and invited them to participate in one of his city council meetings. He understands that critical connection between the food we grow for the world and the local impacts this has on our economy. He has been an important voice on opportunities to grow our regional agricultural economy by considering food hubs strategically across the region and through vacant facility reuse. He also helped local merchants and businesses prepare for highway improvements and survive the COVID pandemic, working with the Rural Main Streets Technical Advice Program in his city this year. Alex, we will miss your active participation, but I know you still have 2 other full-time jobs waiting for you in Live Oak. And honestly, I can't wait to have an opportunity to come visit Live Oak, which I have not done before, but we will get there now. Thank you so much for your active participation here at SACOG. It's been a pleasure working with you.
All right. Thank you, Director Gallardo. Yay. All right, Alex, I don't know if you want to say a few words, Alex. Love to have you do that.
Yeah, if I'm on. So again, thank you, everybody. It's kind of funny because, I expected to be at work, but I got one of those few, I guess, phrases that a day off. I don't know what that means, but I got one of those. So that's why I'm currently not at the restaurant, but I know I'm going to be finding work from my other boss soon, since it's not raining. But first, I like to think that, with all the SACOG staff and working with the other directors, it's been great. And also, Gallardo, that was wonderful speech you gave. And also, I want to thank again your city's contribution to our highway, the underground utilities. I mean, that project is still moving forward. There's still a lot of work going on. And again, I would hope that, in the future, when people are able to finally, travel, at least, somewhat locally, that, please visit our city, with the highway project. It's massive. And this leads me to also thanking all the work that Director Gog, he's the longest serving city council member. He has great knowledge of our city, and also, with other, he's been on, of course, with agriculture. He's going to also be the voice for ag on SACOG. He's a farmer, and for many years, and he knows a lot about the transportation in our area when it regards to ag. Also, I mean, he's been on the air quality board for our region of Stugufka, so he brings a lot of great knowledge that will help out with SACOG, and I look forward to seeing what he does for our city. And honestly, it's been a great experience, and I think he'll enjoy SACOG, and as well with our youth leadership. Again, talking with our local teachers, that it's been an not so great year with being using virtual learning for majority of our students. But again, it's something that the students are learning and adapting to our region, because again, we don't have the best internet broadband in our area, and that's something that Lockbeer has been speaking on and advocating for our city, because again, it's really shown this year that it's been hurting a lot of our students. And again, it's we're a rural community, so we're not going to have the best infrastructure. But again, that's where we have SACOG to help us with. And you guys have been great for providing a lot of projects and grant funding for our city. And again, it's been a wonderful experience. 4 years ago, I had no idea what the hell SACOG was. No one knows. Millions of people don't know. But the impact that you guys have to do, and that I've been part of, affects millions of people, and it's great. It's wonderful. I mean, we're like of course, it's there's a lot of other entities that are part of it. We get the federal and state funding, but again, SACOG plays a very important role, and not a lot of people realize this. And it's one of the things where we all get flack in our cities, but it's one thing. It's like, look, it's like this is what we do as a region, and one of the things that I appreciate that you guys brought on the youth leadership, and how it's grown every year, and it's become an annual opportunity for students in our region to be involved, and it just shows to them like the little piece of the puzzle that SACOG does for our region, and it started them young, because I didn't have those opportunities, but it's great to see that in the future and where it goes. And again, it's just one of the things where once you get involved, that little taste of local politics, of how cities, counties, regions work, you want to stay involved. So I mean, I'm still going to be involved. I have my personal life, I have my jobs, but at the same time, there's a lot of important issues going around, not just in life, but everywhere. So I look forward to what you guys are going to be doing in the future. And yeah, if you're in the area, when you're able to travel, stop on by. I know how to make a margarita pretty good.
Right.
No, seriously. There you go. But anyways, it's been a wonderful experience. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks
I guess I'll look.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much. Appreciate it very much. So, thank you for your service. Really appreciate it. So, moving along to Director Christopher Cabaldon. So I'm fortunate enough to be able to say a few things about Director Cabaldon. It's really an honor to present these comments to him. Sort of especially have an all too brief set of comments, considering he's served now for 21 years on the SACOG board. Certainly he joined the board back in 1999, and 3 years after he joined the West Sacramento City Council. Early in his tenure, he spearheaded and led an MTP transportation roundtable effort, the regional group of public, private, and nonprofit stakeholders that informed the development of the then 2002 MTP. But this effort really demonstrated his unmatched policy and leadership prowess. And certainly seen that on display many times over the intervening years. But he really led the effort on the regional blueprint study. And that was a 2.5-year project. And that's when I first actually came to know Christopher, know of him, not really know him, but as a public member of the public participating in the blueprint sort of sessions, the different public community workshops that happened all around the region. And that he really played a leadership role in that process through the conclusion in 2004, but when he was ultimately elected as the board chair back then. And he has served in numerous leadership roles at SACOG over the intervening decades. Vice chair of the Transportation Committee in 2009, 2014, and 2015, and then chair of the Transportation Committee in 2010, 2011, 2018, and again in 2020. And, I think of note with regard to Christopher's leadership in challenging regional discussions and decisions here at SACOG, and, his ability to carry forward principles that move the board towards acting regionally and not just in the interest of our home jurisdictions has been unmatched. And that's where I've really come to appreciate his wisdom and expertise and voice. And, that same technical expertise, passion, and optimism he poured into West Sacramento that has completely transformed that community, he also brought with him here to SACOG. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to have gotten to know him, to work closely with him over the years on issues that matter to our communities and our region. I was in awe of him and intimidated, and I still am in awe of him, but slightly less intimidated now. But I thank you for your decades of service to this organization and to this region, and you will be sorely missed on this board.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go right ahead.
I asked if I could give comments because I love this guy so much. He is consistent. I have to just say he's consistently the smartest guy in the room. We all know it. He's a thought leader, I would say, not only for our region, but nationally. And I know we haven't heard the last of Christopher Cabalden. He's just a brilliant thinker. I think he operates at a level that leaves a lot of us chasing to keep up with. Some of us don't even succeed, me included. But in any event, Christopher, you're just a marvelous public servant, and you've just given your heart and soul to the city of West Sacramento and to the region over so many years. And I will deeply miss the privilege of being on a body where you are also present. So I just want you to know I'm deeply grateful. Thank you.
You're here. Thank you, Director Stallard. I'm sure I think there are probably others that do want to give some comments as well, but I want to offer Director Cabalden an opportunity to offer comments.
In some ways, it seems like I just got to SACOG yesterday, and then sometimes it seems like it was a past life that I've been reincarnated from. When I joined SACOG, it was a completely different organization, and I was the representative for all of the cities in Yolo County. Because back then we all rotated, and some cities were only on SACOG once every 3 or 5 or 8 or 10 years. And I got on the board, and nobody knew who I was. I didn't know anyone else. I had just gotten a little bit of exposure because we had started the Rayleigh Field project, and the board chair at the time decided that SACOG was going to be something more than just an organization that stapled together the county transportation plans. And he and the board wanted to transform the region. And he created the committees that we have today, saying that the board itself needed to provide leadership. And Tom Stallard was that board chair. And I've said goodbye I've given these tributes to Tom a few times when he's left as well. And he gave me the chance to chair what at the time we called it the work program committee, but it was the transportation committee and the land use committee and the air quality committee all put together. And I was like 8 years old. And the board had just voted 2 years earlier to never consider land use ever. It basically had banned the staff from ever talking about land use. So it was just, we're only transportation, no discussion of land use was allowed to occur. Director Stallard, as the chair, and the board invited me, gave me the chance to lead this thing called the Transportation Roundtable, which was 50 stakeholders from throughout the region, from the chamber and the building industry and the Black Chamber and the NAACP and SABA and ECOS and everyone else, and changed everything. The board opened its mind and its heart and looked at the data and the evidence and said, we can't do transportation without doing air quality. And it completely changed us as a region. It certainly transformed my own community in such profound ways. So much of West Sacramento's success has been because of SACOG. And what I learned from that whole experience was that participating in the region and putting the region's interests, high on the list paid off for my own city. My residents, they work and play in Lincoln and Sacramento and Davis and Woodland and all over the region. And the lines were so artificial in some ways. They mattered, of course, they matter for voting and taxes, but that the region matters too. And that even a small city like mine that was powerless and disrespected and kind of hated, if it could just display a little bit of self-confidence and diplomacy, that it could be just as an effective part of this region as the city and county of Sacramento. And over the years, that's what we've done. I just had the opportunity, for reasons that may become clear later, I just had the reason to look back at testimony I gave on behalf of SACOG to the U.S. Senate Banking and Urban Affairs Committee, and just looking back even 11 years or 12 years ago at how much SACOG has changed the country and changed federal policy and state policy and then regions around America. So this has been perhaps the proudest part of the service that I've done in my city, other than the city itself. The opportunity to work with such a diverse group of board members, and to learn how to be not just a flatlander, YOLO progressive, but to build meaningful partnerships with Bill Hughes from Citrus Heights, who was my predecessor as chair, with Muriel Johnson, who helped us break the logjam so we could get every city on the board. And then I think my Paul Joyner and I have now a famous relationship as two unlikely board members who find ways all the time to cross that divide and to see from each other's perspectives and to think differently as a result. And really, there's nothing more you can ask from a colleague on the SACOG board. And I've grown so much as a result of so many of you on this board. And then the staff. Every time I've thought about not running for re-election, it's been because a SACOG director or deputy director has left. But, well, there's no point in being mayor anymore if Marty Title's gone. Okay, we'll just hire him. There's no point in being here any longer if Mike McKeever is going to leave. There's no point in being here if James Corliss ever does too. We have such an outstanding staff full of heart, passion, values that are rooted in democratic leadership from our jurisdictions, but also pushing us when we need to be pushed, which is often, but doing it in a way that allows us to find our own path there too. So thanks so much to the staff. I'm a better person, a better leader, better executive, just a better human being as a result of being able to work with each of you. And thanks so much to my colleagues. Like every other board meeting, I've spoken too long and too frequently, but thank you again, Mr. Chair, for giving me the opportunity.
You're welcome. And thank you so much for all your work and continued work. Very excited about next chapters of life for you, and we get to watch that. So any other folks who care to make any comments honoring in combination of Director Cobaldin? Director Soon.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be brief. Director Cobaldin, Mayor Cobaldin, I just have a great deal of respect for you. I've always appreciated your problem-solving mindset and your pragmatism. When we talked about our Green Means Go effort, you were very quick to say, hey, look, we're this little region, we're not going to get anywhere in that capital. So anyways, I really appreciate that in a leader, and I feel like it makes all of us, try to look at things again in a pragmatic fashion. I will just add, I can't think of a worse time for you to leave this board, given that Peter Buttigieg just got named Secretary of Transportation in DC. So I hope you won't go too far. I hope we can leverage your friendship in that capacity for this region. Best of luck to you and your next steps. And please, obviously keep involved with us. We could benefit from your knowledge and wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Soon. Any other folks at all right now? Otherwise, we will thank you again, Christopher. Really.
I'd like to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll also try to be brief, but there's enormous value in an individual who's willing to say something that is apolitic or goes against the grain or perhaps isn't even PC. And Christopher has been able to do that. And I was just sitting here thinking of half a dozen times when he was able to make critical comments to us as a board that frankly we needed to hear, and probably several people in the room were thinking about, but he was the only one able to clearly enunciate those and put them in sort of an order and a structure that would instantly make sense for a bunch of people in the room. And I'm just thinking about, things like bike share or the framework around which we started this equity discussion. Christopher made awesome comments at critical times that were saying things like, we know what to do here. Don't get all worried about the policy. Let's just let us go do it. Or you guys are too slow. This is too bureaucratic. We can't wait for that. We're just going to go and we'll sort it out later. Or the whole idea we had about how to accept public comment on projects. I remember Christopher standing up once and saying, that's all just craziness. Why are we asking people to design the structural girders under a bridge? This makes no sense. We gotta put public comment in its appropriate spot. Those kind of comments. And what I would like to urge the rest of the board to think about is if Christopher's not with us anymore to do that, then we all need to step up. And I would urge not just step up at SACOG, but you've got to have that attitude in everything you do in your elected life. Because otherwise we just come to these meetings, we play patty cake and say, oh, how great this all is. And we never have a critical discussion. Christopher always made sure we had critical discussions. And so I think, thank you for that, Christopher. You may be irreplaceable, but you should also be inspirational to the rest of us and allow all of us to act that way in these duties. So thank you for that.
So the term is Christopher, courageous leader. You've been a courageous leader. To Director Sanders' point, you've been a courageous leader for your city and for our region. And I agree with Dave Sander. We all need to be a little bit more courageous at times. So thank you.
We're here.
Christopher, if I may really quickly, I fully endorse what my colleagues have said. It has been such an incredible honor that I hope is not over in working alongside of you. I'm going to disagree with Darren. I do hope you go far. I really want to see you have greater influence, not just on our region, but on our nation. Your ability to listen, to hear, to understand, and to reflect back to others who may have an entirely different perspective than you and work with them towards common goals is extraordinary. I hope I picked up maybe 10% of that. I'm going to continue to strive for that. You are one of the most exceptional human beings I've ever met, and you are going to be sorely missed. You are one of the few individuals I've ever met that can turn a room with your words. It's an extraordinary gift. And like David, I don't know that we're going to be the same organization without you, but I will certainly do my best to step up and do what I can to hold that line and to advance SACOG in the region. So thank you for all you've done.
Other folks with additional comments at all? I appreciate all those that have spoken thus far. Director Giraldo, I see a hand raised. Go ahead.
I know this is hard for you to sit and listen to us all, but we just have to take a second to say thank you. It didn't take me very long to jump on SACOG and listen to you speak to go, I got to pay attention. I'm going to learn so much from you. So I know we just had a short time together, thank you for that. Your institutional knowledge will be a dramatic change for us to lose. I hope you're close enough we can still reach out. I know we're going to be watching and reading fun things about you. Thank you so much. Whether you know it or not, you made a big impact.
Thank you very much, Director Galdo. Any other folks, other comments?
Mayor Cabaldon, this is Rick Jennings, and I just want to thank you. Since I've been in Sacramento, I've seen you in a position of leadership. You've been someone who I look up to. I try to emulate as much as I can. I appreciate your perspective on all the different issues, and you're someone who I could listen to 24 hours a day. I always believe in life that when a door closes, a window opens. And because of who you are, there are going to be windows and doors that are going to open, and people are going to welcome you into those spaces because of what you bring to the table as a leader. You are a leader, as was said before, that should be on a national level. I appreciate what you've done on a local level, but we need to take you to the next level so others can see that type of leadership and want to be more like it themselves. So whatever I can do in any way to support you, you know, and I want you to know, you can always count on me, my wife, my family. We love you, we thank you, and we know that great things are in your path.
We're here. Any other folks? Thank you, Director Jennings. Any other members with comments, questions at all? Otherwise, thank you, Director Cabaldon. Thank you, Christopher, really. We will move along to our next director recognition, which is Director Jankovich, and Director Frost is scheduled to give some comments.
Thank you, Chair Ferrix. Well, I'm honored to recognize Robert Jankovich for his service on SACOG. And I don't know if he's here today. I didn't see his face in the room. So is he here today, or?
I'm not sure that he is here currently. So.
He was, sorry, this is Lynette. He was expected, but I don't see him, so something must have come up.
Oh, bummer. Okay. Well, I'll just start out by saying that Robert joined SACOG board in 2011, and since then he's been working with the board and SACOG staff to leverage resources and serve his city. Most recently, Robert was a key member of Ileton's Civic Lab team in 2019, where he moved forward with his quiet confidence and leadership and was instrumental through that participation. Robert led a group. He led a group of Main Street businesses in hosting a Shop Ileton weekend, drawing people from all around the region and beyond into Ileton's Main Street, driving up tourism and sales. He further worked with SACOG staff to work on a planning effort that would continue to revitalize his Main Street and attract and maintain new businesses, and while maintaining the beautiful historic charm of Ileton. Robert is one of those people that I was able to relate to in many ways. He comes to us representing a suburban jurisdiction with a lot of main streets and local retail businesses, small business owners. So I have appreciated his passion and persistence in trying to make his hometown a more active and thriving community. And I wish he was here so that I could tell him personally, but Robert, if you see this video, I wish you all the best as you move forward into your next endeavors.
Thank you very much, Director Frost. Appreciate. Thank you for your comments. And anyone additional comments at all? Comments, questions? Not seeing any right now. We'll move. Thank you to Director Jankovich for his service for nearly 10 years. Next up is Director Leahy, and Sean Harris is going to present this.
All right, well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to say a few words about my friend Mike up here across the river in the Yuba County Board of Supervisors. Mike joined the board, the SACOG board, in 2019 and jumped right into taking advantage of the different resources available via SACOG. He attended the 2019 Commercial Corridor Tour as part of Cap to Cap, and he recognized the purpose and benefit of working as a regional agency and reliably represent rural communities and agricultural perspectives in many board discussions. Yuba County has led the way in innovative financing for its road rehab projects by borrowing against future SB1 funds to allow it to be more efficient and how it contracts for road repairs. It even managed to get some legislation passed to allow this and opening the door to other jurisdictions to use the same technique. During Mike's term, SACOG supported the county in state grant programs, helping secure funding for 5th Street Complete Streets Project, the Feather River Boulevard State of Good Repair Project in West Linda, Safe Routes to School projects, and the 5th Street Bridge. So he's been very busy. I know we've crossed paths several times up here in the North End where we share a membership on the board for Yuba Sutter Arts and Culture, where he's been very active in many cultural events and things that enhance our community up here, making a better place. Specifically, when most recently he was active in our fireworks presentation we did on 4th of July, which was rather somewhat contentious, but I think his influence and his leadership on that really made a benefit to the community, particularly here in 2020 in the wake of, or in the midst of COVID. And so it made a really positive difference for the morale and the sense of community up here in Yuba Sutter. So Mike, thank you very much. It's a pleasure working with you. It's a pleasure being your friend. And thank you for the participation on the SACOG board.
Thanks very much, Director.
Yeah. Apparently he's driving somewhere.
I think he's driving.
Actually, I am driving. So the timing is perfect. I have to go pick up my granddaughter. I want to say thank you to each of the directors on SACOG for putting up with the guy that says what he thinks and sometimes has no filter. So it's okay. It's okay because sometimes we have to ask the tough questions. You know, I was asked to come serve on SACOG by James when we were on a cap-to-cap tour. And I feel honored and privileged to be amongst such leaders. So, Sean, thank you, brother. And all the rest of the directors, good luck and have fun.
Thanks so much, Mike. Appreciate your service on the board. Directors, others with questions or comments to Director Leahy. Thank you also to Director Harris for your presentation there. Doing my best to look for hands raised and such. Not seeing any right now. Thank you again. So next up is we're honoring Director Underko, Tim Underko, leaving Loomis Town Council, and incoming chair, Director Gore, is going to make some remarks.
Thank you, Lucas. Well, it's my honor to share a little bit about Tim Underko. He joined the board in 2016, the same year he won a seat on the Loomis Town Council. And as a new elected official with a degree in governmental studies, who had previously worked as an aide in the legislature and had also served on the Loomis Planning Commission, Tim was keen to jump in and soak up all he could about SACOG. He became the chair of the Land and Natural Resources Committee in 2018, and then was also named as Loomis mayor in 2019. During his tenure at SACOG, he shared his passion for affordable housing development with the SACOG board. He also worked to bring SACOG resources to Loomis, partnering with us to have Loomis as a star team in the second year of Civic Lab. The town also participated in the Rural Main Street program. And under Tim's leadership, staff and local business community hosted a workshop for Main Street, which is Taylor Road, to explore how some low-cost facade improvements coupled with walkable and bikeable downtown can revitalize the community while maintaining its historic character. During Tim's tenure on the council, Loomis attracted grants for new bike lanes and streetscape improvements for the town center, and a recent SB1 congested corridors funding award for the I-80 interstate reliability improvement. And this was certainly of high interest to the Loomis Town Council because it will resolve an I-80 bottleneck in their community and actually the community of Placer County. Tim also represented SACOG on the statewide CalCog Board of Directors. So yes, he volunteered for more meetings, and he's been an active supporter of the Youth Leadership Academy, making sure his local community knew of the opportunity, and he worked hard to recruit applicants for the program. Tim, we wish you all the best, especially as a dad and in your business. Sometimes we can't do everything, but you're gonna focus right now on those really, really important things in your life. And I know that you will continue to serve the town of Loomis, whether you're elected or not. You have been a great champion for Loomis, for Placer County, and for our greater Sacramento region. So we really appreciate your service, and we're sad to see you go.
Thank you, Bonnie. Mr. Chair, can I say?
Yes,
something?
please. Absolutely. Yeah. My apologies. I was on mute.
Thank you, Bonnie, for that honor. Congratulations, Bonnie, and to Rick also. I know SACOG will be in good hands, at least for the next couple of years. You know, as many of you know, elected office is filled with a lot of ebbs and flows and a lot of highlights. But one of the highlights for me has been working with this agency. You know, I've been in or around government for the last 20 years. And I have to say, without hesitation, SACOG is truly a model for how agencies should function. I look at SACOG staff, and I see a lot of highly competent and dedicated individuals at every level. I don't need to name names because you know who you are. You know, it's rather remarkable what SACOG is able to achieve. Can SACOG do better? Yeah. But we should all strive to do better today than we did the day before. And I think that's what SACOG is doing on a daily basis. Everybody who has an opportunity to serve in any capacity with SACOG should be proud. Mr. Chair, one of the hardest parts about these kind of moments is that, you know, we're not in the same room to hug each other and look at each other in the eyes and thank each and every one of you for the opportunity to serve. So this would be how about a virtual hug, if you will, if that's allowed by the chair. Lastly, Loomis is in great hands with Councilwoman Jan Clark Kretz. She's a great public servant. Get to know her, and I think you'll enjoy working with her. She's a lot of fun. She's thoughtful. She's very bright. And so with that said, thank you to all. I wish you all the best in 2021. Happy holidays and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Ndurko. Appreciate that very much. Excellent comments. And virtual hugs, yes, we will allow virtual hugs. I have, 2 more weeks to proclaim such things, so I'm taking full advantage of it. We have Director Soon and Galdo with hands raised.
Thank you, Chair Farrix. Tim, I just want to quickly say how much I enjoyed serving with you. I feel like we kind of came in as freshman class kind of together, and you sat right next to me, as well. So I always have that, cherish that bond. I mean, many of us have gone on those trips to the site visits or not site visits, but the tours and things. And your passion to this topic of transportation and land use and this work of this board is very evident. And I'm just going to miss serving with you. So best of luck to you and your next endeavors.
Thank you, Director Sin. Appreciate your comments. Director Galdo and Director Joyner.
You know, I'm in my mind, I'm calling you a quitter because as much as I want to say thank you, I'm so disappointed you chose not to run again. So I have to say thank you, even if you're a quitter. I am so happy and so pleased with the things that you've done for Loomis. And you know, Loomis is near and dear to my heart. Being neighbors, people a lot of times compare and say what we have different, but I tell you what we have in common is we're both tremendous communities that are just different. But I'm so proud to have you as a neighbor. I'm so happy. Thank you for what you've done for Loomis. Just driving down Taylor Road shows me what you've done for Loomis. So I know I'm going to see you a lot, and I expect that I'll keep bugging you. But I think this is in a great place. They've got some great leadership there, and you started that off. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Mayor Jill.
Here, here. Director Joyner.
Tim, it looks like Jill may be driving down Taylor Road right now. I'm not sure, but I wanted to take the opportunity to thank you, not just on a personal level, but on a professional and regional level. You have been an extraordinary partner to Lincoln, to South Placer, to the entire region. When you came on the Council of Loomis, you raised the bar and set a new mark for that council and for your city. And the shift is visible. Driving down Taylor is a perfect example of that. You have been a friend, a colleague. We have had some, I think, really good conversations, both online and off. You are going to be missed. I understand your reasons and your timing for stepping away right now, but I hope that is not a permanent situation, because I see extraordinary things in your future with respect to governance. I think there are extraordinary things in your future anyway, but we benefit from your governance and your wisdom. And I hope that we have an opportunity to see you return to that in the not too distant future. In the meantime, I look forward to seeing you around South Placer, and hope nothing but the best for you, buddy.
Thank you, Paul.
You bet.
Other directors at all with questions or comments and for Director Underko? Not seeing or hearing any. I'll just say I want to just offer a quick couple comments as well. I am so grateful for the opportunity to work together and get to know one another. I definitely we hit it off very quickly and originally serving together, and grown personally close. And I am so grateful for your friendship. I think that I really came to, in my time on the board, really seek you out, especially when sort of in a variety of occasions when I really needed guidance and sort of someone to sort of really have sort of a gut check and really sort of make sure that I was sort of in line and staying on course, and so I've that friendship and has really been very meaningful to me. And I think there's I forget the originator of this quote, but I've always loved this one with the a real friend is one who walks in when the rest of the world walks out, and that is something that I am so deeply appreciative of you. Of that friendship, Tim. So all the best to you now and in the years ahead. And thank you for your service. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you, Lucas. Miss you.
Director Stallard, go ahead.
4 years wasn't enough, Tim. Okay. You've got a lot more to give, and we want to get it out of you. So stick around and come back when the time is right, please. Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for that, Director Stallard. Any other folks out there on comments for Director Underko? Otherwise, we've got 3 more folks here ahead of us. So we've got up next our outgoing vice chair, Ricky Samayoa, and presented by Supervisor Saylor, Director Saylor.
Thanks, Lucas. I haven't made comments on these folks as they've come through, but we're going to miss you all. And this is a major change in our board and the work that we do together. Every one of you matters to me deeply, and I'm sorry to see you go. And I'm honored today. It's my sincere pleasure and honor to recognize Ricky Samoya for his time at SACOG. Ricky was elected to the Marysville City Council in 2010, and then to serve as Marysville Mayor in 2012. So this is 10 years of service to his community and to our shared region. And as many of us, this isn't Ricky's full-time job. He's got a full-time job that isn't even counted in that service as the business and grants development director for a local nonprofit that also touches our hearts. Working with the early childhood and child care. So Ricky joined us in 2012 when he first became mayor, and he has demonstrated his leadership in various roles, including vice chair of the Transportation Committee in 2019. Of course, this year he served as our board vice chair and co-chair of the board working group on race, equity, and inclusion. Ricky is one of the most authentic human beings that you'll ever encounter. He listens carefully to each of us. He kind of typifies that expression of, it's not so much what you say or what you do to us, it's how you make us feel. And I think everybody who's interacted with Ricky Samoya in any way comes away feeling like it was a positive encounter, one that he treats us with respect and dignity and looks for the greatness within at every time, at every turn. He's in his time at SACOG, Ricky leveraged multiple avenues of the technical assistance that we have to provide to members to reinvigorate Marysville's historic downtown with a window improvement program, and then to focus on the COVID response. He understands the link between vibrant and walkable spaces and the local economy. He was instrumental in our 2019 in our funding round that pumped out $56 million for transportation planning and infrastructure into the region. This year has been a very challenging year. As vice chair, Ricky was thrown into this extraordinary year, but despite the year of hardships, he's been instrumental and integral to us moving in a direction that keeps the agency on track and with the needs and priorities of the region. You know, this is the first time in 34 years that we've had a vice chair from the city of Marysville. And you've told us we need to keep looking at that community for leadership and talent, and we will definitely do that. Ricky, thank you so much for your time and service to our shared region. And thanks for your friendship, and thanks for just making us all better in what we do together. We wish you all the best, my friend.
Hear, hear. Thank you, Director Saylor. Appreciate that. Your comments. Other directors with comments or at all for Ricky, and I have a couple of brief things I want to say, but Ricky, why don't you go ahead here and oh, I've got a couple hands raised. Sorry, let me get those first. My apologies. So we've got Director Zaragoza, Director Soon.
Great. Would you want to go first? Sure.
Go ahead, Darren.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Michael.
Yep.
Ricky, I needed to jump in here because I'm so sorry to see you go, my friend. Everything that Director Saylor said was spot on. It's been such an honor serving with you and getting to know you as a friend. Really appreciated going up to with my kids up to the Peach Festival up in Marysville and you showing us around. And I apologize, I haven't made it up to the Buckeye Festival, but at your request. But I really appreciated you extending the hand out like that and getting to know Marysville in a more intimate way. I'm going to miss all the trips and we had to for SACOG, looking at things and what we can do as a region. You've been a great partner and again, a good friend. Best of luck to you, my friend. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, Ricky, this is Michael. I just, again, I'm I'm so bummed that you're not going to be with us for another 4 years. I was really looking forward to working with you in these next few years, getting to know each other a little bit better. I just want to say I greatly appreciate your leadership. I would say a soft touch, but with strong words when we were working through some very tough issues, including on the equity committee. So I know there's greater and bigger things in store for you. I hope you come back into this world as well. I think it would mean a lot for this region to have and continue to have your voice, be a thought leader in these greater communities and certainly within your city as well. I look forward once we can travel around more to come see you and bend your ear a little bit as well and taking you around. And certainly you always have a home here in Placerville as well. So Ricky, thank you so much for your leadership, and you'll be sorely missed. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Zaragoza. I've got Director Harris, Jennings, and Stallard.
Yeah, thank you very much. Ricky, it's amazing we live right across the river from each other. I haven't seen each other in a while, probably because of this COVID thing. But I tell you, I really appreciate your leadership. I really appreciate you as an individual and as a person and your input. I know when I first came on the board, you kind of schooled me up during our, commuting down to the meetings and whatnot. For some reason you stopped asking me to drive. I'm not sure why, but that's okay. Won't hold it against you. But I tell you what, best of luck to you in the future. Definitely going to feel the difference with you not on the board, but I know there's more good things for you, more good things for Marysville in the future. So thank you very much. I really appreciate everything you've done.
Thank you very much. Directors Jennings and Stallard.
Ricky, whenever I call your name, I call my own name. And there's oftentimes in a meeting when they're calling your name and I think they're calling my name. I too grew up as a Ricky, and I enjoy that we have that together. As a matter of fact, there's a lot that we have together as far as what you mean to me. To see your leadership, to see your service, to see you stepping up and doing 2 jobs at one time means that you have a lot of capacity. And while we may miss you on the SACOG board, I know your work is not done yet. So I just want to let you know I respect you as a man. I appreciate the accomplishments that you've made, but I have high expectations about what you will do in the future and what you have already done. I just want to personally thank you. And for what you've done for me, I also say thank you very much.
You're here. Director Stallard.
Well, Ricky, the fact that we nominated you and elected you vice chair speaks volumes for the regard we all hold for you. And you've been hearing it in spades, basically, from everybody today. And we just love you, and we're going to miss you here. You do have a softer touch, you don't speak on every issue, but when you have something to say, all of us want to hear it, and you would share it. I want you to know that when I first became a county supervisor in '95, I went to the CSAC convention and the incoming president had lost re-election. And I said to myself, oh, how embarrassing. And then 8 years later, I was the incoming CSAC president and I lost my re-election. So, it just happens. And we know we deal with reactive electorates. And I always say, the longer you're around, the more barnacles you get on the hull, and you gotta, sometimes we can scrape some of them off, but not all of them. So I guess you got caught up with some of those barnacles, but we know that you are a great guy. You've got a wonderful heart. You're full of substance, and why not make another try another time, because you've got a lot to give. Thank you so much for what you've already given.
Thank you, Director Stallard. I'll jump in here for a second and just also add to the chorus. For me personally, this one is particularly tough because we have grown very close together, and I think that, and I've enjoyed serving with you, but I also, over the years, and there's numerous items and we've worked together on, but particularly obviously this year in particular, in this most unconventional of years, serving as chair and vice chair, I personally really view that sort of process as a shared leadership responsibility and a partnership, and it has been that, as far as I'm concerned, in every sense of the word. And so much of that is in fact due to you and the way you've also approached this process. And I am so grateful for the opportunity over the years to serve together, but particularly for all that I've gone through over the course of 2020 together. I am grateful for your leadership here at SACOG, certainly, but also in your community. And I am, like the others said, I have no doubt that we've not seen the last of your ability to serve your community in the region, and I'm hopeful that you will still be doing that in the future. So many all good wishes to you, but thank you, friend, for your work. And if there are no other comments from other directors, Ricky, I'll certainly give you an opportunity to say a few words.
Well, thank you, everyone. That was very sweet. I'm going to miss this work for certain. I do want to thank staff. Staff has been amazing. Lynette, you've been incredible in supporting, and all the staff just assuring that we're prepared to and have the right information so we can make the right decisions and move things forward. And I've enjoyed this past year on the great conversations and direction that we've taken as a board. Since 2 years ago, we met in Rancho Cordova and kind of set up some of the goals and objectives, and we're still working through those. So I'm pretty proud of the collaborative work that we've done, and I think the region has really benefited from it. So I'll continue the great work. I look forward to hearing some more of the work on the inclusion work. Even through the funding framework that we worked throughout this year, I think it was important to add some of the inclusion work in that framework, and that was very important. So I know that Marysville is benefiting from that, and I know that our local leaders here are very will continue being engaged from Marysville and representing and looking at the region. So for those folks that are working on the larger regional COG, get me that train to Marysville. That'd be very important. That'd be great if we can get it out here. So in Marysville, Yuba City. I do want a big thanks to James. James was, I think this year was a great year for him and I, just to kind of work through things together. I really appreciated his leadership. He's definitely a superstar in the nation, and I look forward to continue picking his brain on things. And and hopefully maybe one day we can watch that Liverpool-Barcelona game together at some point in the future after this whole crazy COVID things moves on. Lucas, I really do appreciate what you're willing to do as a vice chair. You really did engage in allowing us to make decisions together and moving things along together. And you're always looking for my input, and that was really appreciative. So thank you for that. I am going to miss the work. I'm going to miss the personal conversations with many of you. And from our trips, but like you said, we have blessings, and we'll continue using those blessings for doing good work. As John Lewis says, we're going to continue doing, getting a little trouble here and there, and moving things along for our community. So thank you so much for the kind words, and look forward to seeing you at the different community events. And feel free to use my cell phone number anytime, and call me, and I'll be sure to reach out as well. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Ricky. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. We have 2 additional directors left to recognize this morning, or almost an afternoon this morning. So Director Slowey is going to be recognized started by presentation by Director Sander.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's with pleasure and gratitude that I get to recognize the service of my friend, Jeff Slowey. It's been difficult for me to realize, Jeff, is that you and I have almost exactly the same number of years in public service. You're joining the Citrus Heights City Council in 2003, I think. I joined, was elected to the first city council in Rancho Cordova in 2002. And so it feels to me like you and I have been around forever in this elected business, right? Because in my life, we kind of have. You've always been there. You've always been a great friend and a great partner in the region. I think when some people think about Jeff or observe Jeff, they probably come to the conclusion that still waters run deep. Now, those waters aren't always still, which means when they move, you really want to pay attention. But Jeff doesn't feel the need to comment on everything, but Jeff thinks about everything very deeply. And I have seen that in his service at SACOG. I've seen that in his service at the League of California Cities. Now we all have to refer to it, by the way, as Cal Cities, new brand, Cal Cities, get rid of League of California Cities. But Jeff has been a stand-up guy for his community and representing his community in many, many ways over these now 17 years. So he joined our SACOG board in 2012. Again, I think at the same time I did, or right around the same time. He served as vice chair of our transportation committee in 2016, 17, and 19. But this year, Jeff decided not to seek re-election. I am not going to call him a quitter because Jeff never let up in anything. And I know there are more great things coming from Jeff, but he recognized that his time of service in Citrus Heights should appropriately come to an end around now. So congratulations on that decision, Jeff. It's a tough one. While he was at SACOG, he worked on a lot of issues and programs, including obviously funding rounds. He participated in tours. He traveled for the organization. But, most notably, he worked hard on the Sunrise Marketplace and the Auburn Boulevard corridor improvements with SACOG. And so under his leadership and with his support, Citrus Heights was an early adopter of the Civic Lab process that we have here at SACOG. And his city helped SACOG develop the original programming and content for that program as a result of his participation. So his city participated as part of a multi-jurisdictional team. They focused on solving first mile and last mile challenges in a suburban environment, which is way too often overlooked. And as part of the outcome, they were the first in the region to launch the Smart Ride, that's the RT ride, Smart with capital RT ride, microtransit system in Citrus Heights. So that was with Jeff's leadership there as well. So, over the years, Jeff's realized that reuse, mixed housing, and infill are critical to Citrus Heights' economy. And he has certainly supported that over the years, even in times when it was a hard sell to a suburban audience. He's also supported that city's participation in the second year of Civic Lab, and now working to revitalize commercial corridors, because obviously all of us have those corridors, but Citrus Heights in particular has these challenges. So he was an active participant in the Sunrise Marketplace PBID, the Sunrise Corridor project that involved a UCLA housing research study and looked at even housing affordability within the city. So Jeff, I could go on a while about your participation and your contributions to the region and the great success you've had representing your city. But I just want to thank you for your contributions to both Citrus Heights and to SACOG, and perhaps most importantly to the Sacramento region. We sincerely thank you for your service.
We're here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Sander. Other folks wishing to make comments at all at this point? Just looking for hands, sorry. Director Soon, yes.
Thanks, Chair. I'm talking a lot today. Jeff, I just want to say it's been an honor to serve with you as well. I consider you another one of those great thought leaders. As Director Sanders said, you don't comment on everything, but when you do, you always have something really good to say. Obviously, we worked together not just on SACOG, but the Library Authority and the Budget Audit Committee. And I really appreciated just your mentorship in those realms as well. As far as deciding not to run, I'm just going to say maybe, you and Tim are more wise than the rest of us to hang things up and go have some fun and free time. So I'm going to wish you again, also the best in your next endeavor. And it really has been an honor. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Darren.
I've got Directors Sallard and Frost up as well.
Hey, Jeff, I'm I'm going to miss you, buddy. You're very matter of fact, as others have said. You know, there's no sacred cows except on the barbecue grill, as far as you're concerned. And you know, you're the only guy I know who operates a set of semis loaded with ATMs that you deploy to you know, disaster areas, and that's for the benefit of the new board members to realize what an interesting guy you are. But you've been a great board member. But I think I have to just say, I've watched the city of Citrus Heights from a distance, and you guys have done smart stuff just time after time after time. You saved your money and paid cash for your conference center and your city hall, and I'm just very impressed with the rollout of that city over the course of the years you have been there. So bravo to you. What a wonderful legacy. We as your friends will miss having you with us at SACOG. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Very much, Director Stallard. Director Frost.
Jeff, well, I'm going to miss you. I hold you in the very highest regard, and I consider you a friend and one of my great mentors, and I want to thank you for all of your help over time. I think I might be a source of frustration because I have a feeling that you wanted to retire maybe 1 or 2 terms ago, and it might have been because of me that they convinced you to stay. I don't know, but I want you to know I'm glad you did, and I'm glad I had the chance to work with you, and I hope you have a great retirement or whatever you're going to do next, because you really deserve it. And Citrus Heights was really lucky to have you serving on that board. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Director Jennings, and I've got a couple comments as well. Director Jennings is on mute.
I think you said Jennings next. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. I do apologize. I've got a unstable connection, but Jeff, I hope you hear me when I say that you've been a great mentor to me for a long time. I've watched everything that you've done in Citrus Heights, and the work speaks for itself. Citrus Heights is a much better place because of your work and the work that you've done in that city, and everyone sees it from the results that we've seen over the years. But thank you for being a great mentor. Thank you for being an incredible leader. Whatever you decide to do going forward, I know great success because everything you've always done has been met with great. So whatever you need from me going forward, please know that you have a friend that you can count on.
Thank you, Rick.
Good luck, my brother.
I think you'd like a Super Bowl ring, Rick.
Yeah, we got to get him in playing shape for that one.
Not gonna happen.
So very quickly, just Jeff, I've really appreciated serving with you. We've served on the board for a number of years, certainly, but in a variety of different committees together too. And just all the items that people have raised in terms of just the very straightforward manner in which you approach the process, and just like, again, not having to talk on every item or most items, but also just like when you do speak up, it's always something that's very insightful. But I would just say that Tom started, I think it was Tom's raising this point about, when we were allowed to have in-person meetings and we were doing the sort of the rotating of meetings here and there, I was so appreciative of Citrus Heights being willing to host, but just, I've watched that city for many years, sort of the evolution, and just completely blown away by the Civic Center and particularly how, as someone who you do not necessarily, speak all the time, I was amazed at how animated you were and excited and really proud, and showing clearly the pride of civic leadership of your community, and being able to share that with the rest of the board and staff and such, and hosting that meeting. And I just it was a real memory for me that just sort of made a mark on me. So appreciate all your service and wish you the best in your next chapter in life.
Thank you. So from my end, I will echo a lot of the comments that have been made. It's a great board to sit on. I will say at first, when I came on board, when they said 22 cities elected officials and 6 county elected officials, I was a little hesitant, a little too many voices in the room, but it's a great board, it does great work. I think James is the perfect leader for that group. I would echo the comments on the SACOG staff. They are top notch, for the region, and they do great work. To my fellow board members, it's been an honor, a privilege. I appreciate your professionalism, the friendships I've gained, and more importantly, the lessons and education that you've given me. So, but as David said, 17 years, that's enough for me. So I continue to have my day job. I've been with Bank of America for 25 years, so I will continue to do that for another 2-3 years before I officially retire. But thank you for your comments. Good luck and continue the good work.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it. So moving along to last, but certainly not least, and only last, I think, because of the alphabet, Director Veerkamp, and Director Chenier is going to begin this with the presentation. Oh, he's on mute.
First of all, I want to echo something that Don Saylor said. I haven't spoken up on everyone as everyone has come through this line, but this is a huge loss for SACOG with so many people leaving. The institutional memory, the energy, the resources, and the different points of view that everyone has brought will sorely be missed. So yes, last but certainly not least, Brian, I'm really honored to be able to say a few words about you. A few content pieces and then a few just personal thoughts. When Oroville Dam had the crisis and the evacuation, you were the one that brought our board and regional stakeholders together to better understand the role that SACOG should play, how we could put our smarts best into kind of an emergency preparedness and evacuation planning. No one was really saying we need to all come together to do this, but you kind of rose above that and said, this is something we need to do. This isn't really, something we've done in the past, but it's just necessary. And your leadership, I think, brought that forward. I know you've been a strong advocate for rural issues, especially around wildfires. You've been a national leader in that, and you spoke to the House Committee on Natural Resources on the importance of wildfire resilient communities back in May of 19, again, when we still could do things in person. And you were quoted, and I love this quote, that it was your grandfather's words, manage the land or it will manage you. I think that's really something and really truthful. You've been one of the leads on SACOG's Rucks Forest Management Tour for elected officials. I think that is the best way that we can educate people, when you can see and touch and feel what the challenge is before you. And you've done that while showcasing El Dorado County. For me, and I sat next to you for a couple of years there and followed you in your leadership. I think you're really the epitome of a public servant. As many people have said about others, but this is really true of you, certainly. You were not the most vocal person on the board, but when you spoke, it was always thoughtful, it was always meaningful, it was always respectful, and I think always moved the conversation forward. I learned a lot from watching you, from sitting there. I think you're just a good person, and you will be really missed on this board and in the work that you've done as a public servant. So on behalf of everyone, I want to thank you for that work. Sometimes it's not fun, but it's always meaningful. So I just wish you well as you go forward. They wrote for me that you will be have more time for gold panning, so I'm not quite sure about that, but maybe you can clue us in. So just be well, be safe, be healthy, and enjoy yourself.
Thank you, Director Chenier. Very, very nice. Thank you.
Thanks so much. So we have a couple of folks in the queue here, Director Suen, Director Saragosa, and Director Stallard.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I also just want to echo my sentiments. The friendship that that grew when we first met on SACOG. I too appreciate your leadership when Orville broke. I had the honor of supporting you in that effort, and I felt like we really came together and bonded during that experience. My dog is going to miss you too, and he's making well done. Anyway, I'll keep it short, but you, as Director Schneer mentioned, you're just a very good person, and we'll miss you. Thank you.
Thanks, Darren.
Brian, Michael, I'm going to dearly miss you on this board, as well as my personal supervisor as well. I got the honor to vote for you as my District 3 supervisor, and it's great to call you a friend. For those that don't know, Brian's going to continue in his public service, serving on EID, our irrigation district in El Dorado County. So he's immediately jumped into another adventure that needs leadership. So, I'm incredibly grateful for that work that he's going to continue to do. If you know Brian, there's no such thing as sitting at home and not doing something. So, Brian, thank you for all you've done for El Dorado County on the SACOG board. I feel like, we'll have a new supervisor on board, but I think it's going to be big shoes to fill from your leadership on this board, for your representation of rural counties. I'll miss our drives down together, down to the meetings when we, like everyone said, when we still could. Most of all, what I'll miss is just your wise words. Great that we're in the same area, so we'll still get to see each other and we're friends. But I think on behalf of everybody else, again, Brian, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Michael.
Director Stallard, you're on mute.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I like that comment that you're just a good person. I think there's something really solid about you. You're like a pillar at our table, and we're going to miss that solidness that you have brought to us. You are the third of 3 former chairs that we are losing this time, you and Christopher and Susan, and that's a special loss, because we call upon our former chairs for a number of other tasks, our strategic planning committee and the like. So you will be very missed, but I've already told you, I hope you continue in public service. I'm glad you'll be on the EID. There's other areas. And of course, supervisors have been known to run again after a few years in your county, although I think you have a pretty good successor coming, as you know. So thank you so much, Brian, for all you've done for us.
Thank you, Tom.
Very quickly, thank you, Tom, for that. Brian, I too similarly add in how much I will miss you. I learned so much from watching you as board chair. And I think that, and it really helped prepare me in that regard. I think also you will see me in El Dorado a lot, because I do love El Dorado and spend a lot of time up there. And so we will definitely have connection in the future. But also, I also really appreciated you keeping Clarici under control as well too over the years. I know that alone was quite the endeavor. So thank you in spades over and over again for all of that. But with that, I'll offer an opportunity for you to make some comments.
Yeah, thank you, Lucas. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to congratulate Directors Gore and Jennings for their new leadership roles. Fully support it, and I'm glad to have been part of that. I think they'll do great, and they'll serve SACOG well. As I look back over the short 8 years, Executive Director McGeever, Interim Director Trost, Director Corliss, you all taught me a heck of a lot, and I really appreciate Kirk stepping in during that interim period. Went a little longer than what we anticipated, but he did an outstanding job. And then we were able to select an outstanding person in James Corliss to lead SACOG forward. I look back also through the chairs, Rohan, Chenier, Saylor, Cabalden, Stallard, Friedrich, Sander. It's just a pleasure and honor to be with you all and to have served SACOG and try to advance our cause. And I think we all did, and all of the directors as well. You know, being a director of any board or being an elected of any board, people sometimes look at it as you know, this powerful, whatever you want to call it, but it's really about being good people with big hearts and the willingness to serve. And that's how I look at all of you. I'm going to miss all of you, but I'll see you around here or there. As you alluded to, I did get elected to EID's board, and I'll be involved in emergency services in El Dorado County. And I just look forward to the opportunity to seeing you all again, whether it's personal or work related. And I just so much appreciate your service to our region. And I think we all worked hard, and you owe it all yourselves as well to take a bow, because you all know it's thankless at times. So I was truly blessed again to serve. I appreciate my wife and family's support through this time. And it's been outstanding, and I wouldn't have done it without any of you or my wife. And then secondly, staff at SACOG is outstanding, and they all need to be very well commended for all their hard work, because we, again, wouldn't do any of it without them. So thanks. You know, I'm also smart enough to know I'm between you and lunch, and that's not the right place to be. So thanks for this recognition, and thanks for taking the time to recognize the other outgoing directors. They all deserve it very well. Thank you very much.
You're here. Thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate that. So that wraps up the recognizing outgoing directors. But I'm going to now just move. We have last very, very few minutes of the meeting here. So chair's report is up next. I too also am smart enough to recognize the time of the day and the next impending meal. So I'll just say in my chair's report, 2020, wow, what a year. We will now move along to board member reports. Anybody, for the good of the order, have any board member reports?
Let me second, sweet.
Any board member reports specifically? I will lastly go to James for just a comment or so on his executive director's report.
Just a quick 40-slide PowerPoint, Chair Ferrix. I hope everybody's gonna just hang in there. I didn't want to say things about each of the directors who are outgoing. It would have taken too much time from the rest of you with your peers. But I do just want to say all of you and all of your service is what makes this region and this board so special. And you know, I think I first knew Director Cabalden before I knew anybody else. I've known him for about 20 years. And he was one of the reasons I came here to Sacramento, that I moved my family across the country. And you all are the reason that I'm happy to be here, and I'm proud to do this job. So I just want to thank you for your service, Chair Ferrix, Vice Chair Samayoa. It really was a remarkable year, and as I said to both of you, what a test of leadership in this time. I think if we look back for all of us, this really is about defining leadership and how you survive the tests that you never anticipated. That annual highlights report, I think, is a testament to sort of putting your head down and making sure that we got the work done at the end of the day. And with that, the final very small housekeeping piece is to please, if you're returned to the board next year, or you're new and you're a new board member, do return that survey about your committee preference for next year. That helps the new chair and vice chair sort out how we're going to run next year. So it's been an honor in a very, very difficult year. And thank you again. Back to you.
Great. Thanks very much, James. So the remaining items on the agenda are, of course, receive and file. If there aren't any questions on any of these items, I'm assuming there won't be, we will now adjourn the meeting. And I just, everyone, it's been, again, quite a year. And I wish you all a healthy and happy, safe holiday season, and look forward to seeing you all in the new year. Next regular meeting of the SACOG board will be held remotely on Thursday, January 21st, 2021. Have a great day, everyone.